The loss of a parent often carries a grief that's uniquely its own. And when you've lost both parents, that grief can look very different for each one. When my father died on May 23rd of this year, it was nothing like the experience of losing my mother years ago. Different feelings and emotions, different realizations, different journeys, and different ways of coping. Today, I'm going to share 3 things that have helped me in these early stages of grieving my father. I'm not here to tell you there's a right way to grieve, because there isn't, but maybe something I share will connect with you and help you find ways to honor your own needs as you navigate loss. My parents had cancer, but their end-of-life journeys were completely different. My mother was 57 when she died. My father was 74 when he died. My relationships with each of them was loving and healthy, but very different. And when my mom died, I was a lot younger and at a totally different point in my life. So the way I grieved her and the way I'm grieving my father aren't the same. I say this because grief doesn't look the same each time. Each loss brings up something different, and that's okay. The first thing that really helped me was being honest with myself and with others about where I was emotionally. Because of the work I do in the death, dying, and grief space, people sometimes assume I am automatically okay, that I've got all the tools and I'm still functioning from day to day as usual, so I must be fine. But the truth is, I'm human, and I hurt and I grieve just like anyone else. So being upfront with my loved ones, friends, and community about where I was emotionally and mentally helped me honor myself instead of pretending to have it all together. Shortly after my father died, there was another death in the family on my mother's side. And then just a couple of days after my father's funeral, we had another family emergency. Both of those things on top of my father's death completely filled my cup. I didn't have much capacity really for anything else but the bare essentials. But here's the thing. I had already committed to an event for the following weekend. I had already purchased my tickets. I already had friends that committed to attending with me, and I even had a friend flying in town. Under normal circumstances, I would have been looking forward to it. But with everything happening, I was just like, I'm not feeling it. I don't really want to go to this event. And I really wasn't in the space to want to play host and entertain. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel possible. So the weekend before that, I had already kind of been checking in with myself and sitting with myself and just trying to gauge if I had it in me to follow through. But a few days before the event, after leaving the hospital from visiting my family member, I literally just pulled over in a parking lot and just had a moment and called my friend because I realized I needed to say something. And I was like, look, I am so sorry, but I just don't have the capacity right now to attend this event, and I really don't have the capacity to have guests in town. And she was incredibly understanding and even shared that she thought that I would have called earlier to cancel. Her compassion and understanding in that moment was exactly what I needed. And just like that, the pressure I had been carrying was released. That simple honesty opened the door for support, and it lifted so much weight. But here's the thing, that honesty had to start with me. It meant checking in, slowing down enough to notice what I was feeling in my heart and in my thoughts. And because of that one practice, the people who care about me knew how to show up. And I gave myself permission to just be real. So here's a question for you. When you're grieving, do you find yourself pushing to be strong for others? Or do you allow yourself to just say, I'm not okay? The second thing that helped me was showing myself some grace. I'm the type of person who's usually working on something or getting something done. I like to be productive. But after my father died, I just didn't have the capacity. Some days I didn't want to attend meetings. Some days I didn't want to talk to anyone. Some days I didn't even want to eat healthy or exercise. And at first, I felt guilty about that. I remember one Saturday, I was talking to a friend and I panicked because I thought I was forgetting some important meeting or event. So I was double checking my calendar and I realized there was nothing I was missing. And my instinct was to immediately find something else to do just so I wouldn't feel lazy. But I caught myself. And I reminded myself, this isn't laziness. This is grief. My body and mind were asking me to rest. So I honored that. Giving myself grace didn't mean abandoning my responsibilities, but it did mean allowing space to sleep in, to sit quiet, or even eat something outside of my normal routine without guilt. So I want to ask you this. When you're tired or overwhelmed, do you give yourself permission to just slow down? Or do you push through? The third thing that helped me was taking time away to process. I've always been a processor by nature. But even if you're not wired that way, I really believe there's value in carving out time and space just to reflect. About a month after my father died, I took my annual trip to Las Vegas to play in the World Series of Poker's Ladies Championship. And this year, I added a trip or a stop to the Grand Canyon. And both were very powerful experiences. While playing poker, which I know might sound a little odd, it's one of the few things that lets my mind work through emotions in the background while I'm focused on something else. Poker for me has always been more than a game. In a strange way, it gives me mental space to think while still keeping me present in the moment. But the Grand Canyon offered me something deeper. It allowed me to step back and see things from a different perspective. The trip wasn't about closure. It was about allowing myself to walk back through my father's end-of-life journey and his death. And doing that gave me a lot of peace, and it gave me clarity that I was searching for. It also allowed me to start the healing process. There were things I had forgotten about his journey and our time together that I needed to remember, and they resurfaced during that time. There were realizations I had to face, like not having parents anymore, And I needed to start resolving that in my heart and mind. And to be honest, just the sheer experience itself, I needed to relive that and express all the feelings associated with that time uninhibited. Now, my trip took me across the country, but you don't need to go that far to process. You can carve out 30 minutes in a park, take a quick walk, or sit in stillness at home. Processing doesn't require a plane ticket. It just requires some intentionality and maybe a little bit of creativity. The 3 things that helped me in the early days of grieving my father were being honest about where I was emotionally, showing myself grace, and taking time to process. These worked for me, but your grief journey may look completely different. If being open and vulnerable feels uncomfortable, start with one safe person you trust and share a small piece of what you're feeling. If giving yourself grace feels impossible, give yourself permission this week to do one thing that honors where you are and what you need. And if you can't take time away, remember, even a few minutes a day can help. Grief doesn't disappear, but it can feel less overwhelming if we're honest and gentle with ourselves. And if we're allowing ourselves to make space for it. If anything I shared today resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And if you have personal insight on what's helped you in the early stages of grief, please share that too. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to read. If this video can help a friend, please pass it along. And if you want to explore these topics more deeply, I created a guided journal called Life's Final Chapters. It's filled with prompts and exercises to help you process your thoughts and feelings around death, dying, and grief. You can find it in the description below. Thank you so much for being here today with me, and see you soon.